We should get started. Let's get started. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Hi, good morning to everybody. It's with great honor that I welcome you all, visitors and members to 10th the Entrepreneurs Network. Our acting chairman, Mr. Rahul Amruta, is not present today. So I, Deepak Kapoor, for the interim, shares the responsibility of chairman. In my task, I am ably supported by Manoj Tahilyani, the secretary, Mangesh Patale, the relationship manager, and Ram Kumar, who heads our social media. The single-minded focus of 10 is to help entrepreneurs from different business fields to come together and succeed. To know more about 10, I now request Mangesh Patale to run the AV. Yeah, Mangesh.
Yeah. Can you see the screen, Deepak?
Yes. Yes.
Thane, Maharashtra's major industrial town, fastest growing and slated to be the most happening commercial hub. Over the last decade, Thane has grown from a small suburban town to a large self-sustaining metropolis. Proximity to the financial capital of the country has extended ample opportunities to Thane for becoming the richest district in Maharashtra, with potent factors like well-planned infrastructure and low cost of operation. With growing opportunities and upcoming business ventures comes the growing need for business networking to learn, to explore, to connect, and to share avenues for mutual growth. Welcome to the Entrepreneurs Network, popularly known as 10. Established in 2010 with the intent of providing a platform for entrepreneurs to share their experience, to learn, and to educate fellow entrepreneurs, along with generating business opportunities for mutual growth. Our motto: connect, breakthrough, and prosper.
In 2009, basically, I was totally confined to the four walls of my own retail outlet. Probably that time I was feeling the need to get out of that those binded four walls. So there was a business networking group. I joined that, and after 1.5 years, basically there was some disconnect with that particular group. So we wanted to start something which was more Indianized. We wanted to do something to build a community of entrepreneurs. And in 2010, we started this 10 Entrepreneurs Network.
10 is a close-knit community of different business verticals across industries.
10 ने मुझे अभी जो फ़ायदा मिला है, काफ़ी फ़ायदा मिला है. बिजनेस अपॉर्चुनिटीज़ भी मुझे काफ़ी मिली है 2009 से. ग्रोथ काफ़ी हुआ है.
I love 10 as a network because it is very different from the other business networks what you see, and it has helped me a lot in my overall development, for my business, for my relations.
And what I found, people around us are all wanted to grow in their business and help the society around.
Raj froze. He is just back from Himalayas and he's
Contribute connections, ideas, and time to help 10 grow. Members are rewarded with training workshops, insights, network, and camaraderie offered by other like-minded entrepreneurs. They meet alternate Wednesdays from 7:15 a.m. to 9:45 a.m.
What I liked about 10 is more of a kind of a learning platform. So I learned a lot from 10, through different sessions, different workshops.
What I like about 10 is core functionality, which is continuous learning for entrepreneurs. That is, we can say it is a core function of 10 on which it operates.
10 has been extremely beneficial to me in enhancing my personality and making me equipped to face the challenges as an entrepreneur.
Connecting, breakthrough, and prosper, which is the mantra of 10, is something which I was seeking for in my business career.
10 conducts activities such as 10 Connect session, open minds, outdoor meetings, and annual conclave. 10 Connect session provides a robust platform to its members for learning and sharing experiences, one-on-one interaction, apart from addresses by internal and esteemed guest speakers. 10 Engagement also extends to events such as Open Minds, where established entrepreneurs and business owners are invited to share their life lessons and growth stories while interacting with live audience. It's an event that Thaneites eagerly wait for. Outdoor meetings are fun coupled with learning. It aims at increasing member bonding and interactions beyond regular meetings. It includes site visits, visiting fellow members' workplace, and short outings which are extremely high on fun quotient.
Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, they are exactly following that. That really brings me to here.
Since inception, 10 members have transacted more than 275 crores of business with its members and connects beyond 10. As we move ahead in this path of connecting for mutual growth, we look forward to more heads, more hands, and more hearts to come together. We welcome you to attend the 10 Connect session, to experience entrepreneurial energy, creativity, and motivation.
Let's give our classic 10 clap to 10, which goes 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, twice.
10. The Entrepreneurs Network. Connect, breakthrough, prosper.
Thank you, Mangesh. Friends, today we have two stalwarts of their industry and 10 members as well, Mr. Sunil Gwalani and Mr. R. Kannan, who will be representing their business. To start with, we introduce our first speaker for the day, that is Mr. Sunil Gwalani. Mr. Sunil is a leading behavioral and leadership facilitator and coach. Sunil manages Human Impact Training and Consulting Private Limited. Sunil is an internationally certified psychometric practitioner and specializes in tools like MBTI, DISC, and Insights Discovery. A keen observer and a quick learner, has a knack of dealing with people and adapts himself to suit various situations and people. A power speaker, he has the ability to infuse energy and enthusiasm in his listeners and energizes his training workshops and speeches with up-team anecdotes and examples. An emphatic and intuitive Erickson certified coach who brings in 35 years of his industry experience to help his clients explore their potential and growth. He has trained and coached more than 75,000 managers and executives in more than 300 companies in India and abroad. Let's hear from Mr. Sunil what his company offers and what makes them different from everybody else. Yeah, Sunil.
Well, thank you, Deepak. I think it's the first time I've ever been called an stalwart. And the only person I can give credit for this is Kannan. Because that word applies to Kannan. And you would have thought if you write only for Kannan and not for me, I may feel bad, but I wouldn't have. Thank you, Kannan, for that. Okay. Another thing I need to share with you that I think is the second instance in life where I'm finishing before Kannan. Because I speak before Kannan, so I finish before Kannan. The only other place where I could come before him was in running marathons. Though in the first one, he did beat me at that as well. Well, thank you, Ten, for this opportunity. And it's wonderful talking to all of you. In fact, yesterday afternoon, I sat and looked at the presentation that I had, and I realized that the last time I looked at the Human Impact presentation was maybe way back in 2012. It does talk of good things about the company that since 2012, I have not made a Human Impact presentation. So I had to make certain changes, and the time that I had, I just put up something quickly. I would have preferred to talk to you without a presentation because I do not believe, like many other people, Kevin mentioned that, in a very strong PPT unless is necessary. But as I was talking to Ram, the 20 minutes that I will take, Ram, I had total of 25, 30 minutes or 20?
25 minutes, 25, 30 minutes.
25 minutes. So I'm going to take not more than 17, 18 minutes sharing with you something about the organization that we run or manage. And of course, then I will leave a few minutes for a few questions in case you have. So just give me a second for me to start sharing the presentation as well. The whole objective of doing this presentation in a PowerPoint is so that some of the things that would take time to register otherwise can get registered better through the presentation. Here we go. Can someone please confirm if you can view the presentation?
Just make it full screen, Suna.
Yeah, it is.
Perfect, perfect.
Great. So I run a learning company. I don't run it because I believe that every accomplishment starts with a decision to learn. It's the desire to keep learning that actually is the most important attitude and a human impact. The organization that we set up way back in 1999, and when I use the word we, it was my wife Lata and me. To be very honest, actually it was started by her. I joined a little later in the training business. I was involved in something else at that time. So simple motto that we have at Human Impact Training and Consulting is sculpting an attitude for learning. Because in adult learning, and we don't use the word adult training, adult learning is when the learner takes the onus of learning. My job or any trainer's job, trainer in quote unquote, is one of a facilitator who assists people in their learning journey. Now that's exactly what we have been doing for the last 21 years. So let me tell you the story that we have at Human Impact. The story has many scenes, many chapters. To start with, what do we believe in? What's our faith? What do we do? What kind of training workshops do we provide people? What is the takeaway for people when they attend any of our sessions? For the last 5 or 6 years, I think it happened way back in 2015, I also ventured into coaching by accident again, and I'll share that with you when we come to that. So what are our coaching offerings in today's time? And psychometric profiling, something that when people ask me, are you passionate about something? My answer is no, because for me, passion is something that is when nothing else in the world stops you from doing that. But if something that comes close to passion for me, still not a passion, is psychometric profiling. Maybe with very strong background in statistics, it's very easy for me to understand a lot of these models a little faster than other people. And my intuitive nature allows me to associate any of those learnings with human behavior. So I do a lot of work in that area. Our journey so far in terms of some numbers, a bit about me and the kind of clients that we have worked with. Now, when I talk about faith, I have always believed that training is maybe the easiest thing to do for that 1 day, 2 days, or 5 days. What's the most difficult aspect is what happens after the training program. Because having done more than 3,500 workshops, when I meet people a year or two later, let me be very honest, sometimes people say, hey, we have met somewhere. And it would have happened a couple of years. And I feel bad that maybe I did not leave any impact on that particular person. Or say, yeah, I remember attending your program, but I don't know which program was that. I mean, the first one happens rarely when they say we met somewhere, but second happens very often. Said, I was in your program, but I don't know which one. So, well, even I would not know because you're like a patient and I'm a doctor. I would have met 20 on that day itself. So the entire focus that we have in terms of our faith at Human Impact is our approach to training is based on learning through emotional intelligence. And when I use the word emotional intelligence, without getting into details, while is the thought process of a human being that makes him or her do something, what actually drives an individual is one's feeling. Think of most of the buying decisions that you have taken in life, or most of the decisions I would say you have taken in life, you would realize there's going to be a strong feeling. So the approach that we have in our training programs is more based on how to make a person feel important about what training is, and then imparting certain skills is not very difficult, to be very honest. Now, what all we have been doing in the last 21 years? First, of course, is training workshops in person and online. While for most of us, Zoom started 15 months back, I have been doing a lot of webinars for the last 5 odd years, thanks to some of my clients in other countries. And they would find it easier to rather have a session on Skype or WebEx. Those are the two things that we used till maybe December 2019. And after that, we have multiple things. So I've been used to those online sessions, especially for countries in Taiwan, Hong Kong, China. Today, maybe not the right place to talk about for whatever reasons. So in-person and online programs is what we do. Executive and life coaching. I prefer to do more of executive coaching, which is typically with managers and entrepreneurs. But when we talk about coaching, it encompasses so many things that people sometimes come up with challenges which could go beyond their being a manager or an entrepreneur and maybe touching upon the life issues as well. Psychometric profiling that I briefly told you. And of course, something that I enjoy doing, speaking assignments. So being a speaker in many forums, paid, unpaid, both, because in India, being being a paid speaker is one of the most difficult things, to be very honest. And a lot of youngsters ask me, how do we monetize that? I said, well, the day I learn how to monetize speaking assignments, I'll tell you that. Okay. Now, let me just take you through each one of them briefly. People ask me, what's your competency in training? What kind of programs do you like to do? And I have always failed to answer that question for the simple reason that my competency is being able to engage audience and help them learn something. And it's not that I would know each and everything beforehand that I'm telling them. There's a lot of preparation that goes into it. Of course, when we started way back in 1999, we started with a single program on communication skills. You know, in those days, maybe that was one of the easiest programs to start with. But I got bored doing 8 sessions, and then I got into something on team effectiveness, having handled a team of my own of 6 people when I was 22. You know, when I say own, when I was working as a manager. And then slowly the growth happened. So today, our basket of programs covers right from leadership development to managerial development. And the way I discriminate or differentiate between these two is leadership is typically the extremely top level HODs, whereas managers could start right from first-time managers to middle managers. And my experience of working with maybe 20,000 out of 75,000 people that I worked with would come from that managerial cadre. I think they are the most sandwiched people in an organization. They do not have the kind of authority that the top team or the leadership has, and they do not have the lack of accountability in most cases that the junior most level will have. So they get sandwiched for multiple reasons. So we have a lot of programs for them. We have programs based on emotional intelligence, whether it is leadership, relationship, working with teams. Personal development encompasses anything that helps an individual do better. Programs on time management, business etiquette. Though in the last 4 or 5 years, to be honest, my focus on those programs has reduced drastically and has been more on the top rung that you see: leadership development, managerial development, emotional intelligence, and team effectiveness. So team effectiveness talks again of interpersonal skills, team building. I do a lot of work in offsites. In fact, just to share with you, one of my clients, a big financial house called Inam, has been using my services for 7 consecutive years for an offsite, whereas before that, they would change the trainer every year. And last 2 years, in fact, it has been a bit of a challenge for me. What new do I tell them? And it's a 3-day offsite, of which I get total of around 10 hours of training alone or discussion. So it like 70 hours spent. And this year, fortunately, we did not have it. Last year, it happened in March, just before the pandemic. So I was talking to the HR head and I told her, I said, Pooja, I'm happy we're not doing it because it gives me some time to think about what to do the next year. And of course, other programs in communication skills and sales and customer service. Well, if any one of you is interested later, I can tell you a little more about any of the programs that we do. The takeaway of our programs is based on not just telling people a concept or a tool that they can use or conceptually communicating or making them aware, but helping them where and how they can act upon it. Because the biggest casualty in any training, to be very honest, and some of you have been in that field, you know somewhat, is that people enjoy a program, but after a month, maybe they do not recall a lot. The reason is maybe they were not motivated enough to try out something. So instead of just telling them, here is a skill, our focus at Human Impact has been to tell them, hey, this is the reason you should be doing it. And if you're convinced with the reason, here are the skills. And that has been working much better. Coming to the second service that we offer, which is coaching. This happened to me by accident, to be very honest. In 2015, I did a program for a recruitment firm. And after I did a program, a couple of days later, the CEO called me and said, Sunil, can we meet? So I met him and he said, I would like you to coach 3 of my other partners. He was one of the partners, the senior most partner and the CEO. So I said, well, I've never coached people. He said, no, but somehow I feel that I would like you to work with them. And I understood the need and I realized it's an extension of training. I knew what coaching is all about, but I had not done that. And when I started, I realized that I could make a little more difference to people than in a training program. And that's what I enjoyed. One of the processes that I followed even then, and especially after 2019, when I got certified through International Coaching Federation, before that, I used my own models that I worked upon. But I felt that there was a need to learn models which are worldwide accepted. And that's how I went for this certification and did help me. But typically what happens in coaching is that The process is not of telling, the process is of asking. And to quickly tell you, in today's time, I was talking to Ram the other day, there's a lot of confusion between words like training, coaching, mentoring, counseling, and somebody says, I do everything. One can, but what people don't realize that the skills that you need to do each one of them is different. So it's typically based on a matrix of ask and tell and future and past. So if you're addressing the past and ask, you're looking at counseling, where someone is going through trauma. So it's past and asking questions, making the person talk. When it is future and ask, that's coaching and mentoring. Coaching and mentoring go hand in hand. If it is telling and future, you're looking at training, where you just help people build those skills. And if it is telling and past, it's kind of psychotherapy, which goes after counseling. So in counseling, you ask, and then psychotherapy, you tell as well sometimes. So the focus that we have in coaching is purely on making people ask, or rather asking questions to people and helping them come up with their own answers. And of course, when they don't or they cannot, my job as a coach is to suggest things that they can pick up from. I mean, I call it sometimes interestingly Chinese menu, and we have different models that we use. I mean, I've worked on one or two of my own, where I share with them a little later, give them offer of like, you have Chinese menu and 50 dishes, and the person say, yeah, I think this dish works for me. And I still haven't told him directly this is what he should be doing, because one of the important things in coaching that I believe and I follow very, very strictly is, I'm nobody to tell you what you should be doing. Are you convinced with the answers that you're getting? Yes, if you need something, it could be a suggestion from me, but it would never be you should. So more on that you should in a couple of minutes. Now, what do we cover under coaching? Right from leadership and executive, which is my forte, to things on performance coaching, success coaching, career coaching, very little, because a lot of youngsters, people who are in mid-20s. In fact, I'm currently helping someone, of course, it's pro bono with some of these youngsters. They say, Sunil, I'm 26, I've done a couple of years of work, but I don't know what to do. And with the help of some bit of coaching, by asking them a lot of questions and making them realize what's important for them and why should they be doing it, as Kevin was talking about, that why being the most important thing in the last session as well, I'm able to assist them. All this, right from leadership, executive, and performance, can encompass into what I define as business coaching. Because business coaching has two aspects. One, of course, is when somebody assists you look at or grow your business. I've always believed that the most important P of any business is people. And that's where I come in, where I help a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of managers get answers to the challenges that they face in people management. So when I use the term business coaching, people say, hey, no, I would like to grow my business. I said, if it's the way is through people, I can assist you. Otherwise, maybe I can tell you who else can help. So that's what I do in coaching. Psychological profiling. Now, as I told you, this is something very close to passion. And I was first exposed to this way back in 2003 when I was doing a program for a client, and he said, do you use any assessments? And I said, no, but I went ahead and found out some assessments. So I got certified in one in 2005, in 2008, in another one. You need to get certified for the simple reason that you cannot buy any of these tools officially and legally if you're not certified. And in fact, I have been on the ethics committee of MBTI in India and fight a lot against a lot of assessments that are available that people pick up for free, which is extremely unfair and I would say illegal and unethical. So I have been serving on the ethical committee for the last 7 years. And the number of cases that we get from large organizations and large training companies, sadly, where people just don't want to pay for those tests. It's really, really sad. So use of assessment is used to help a person find out more aspects about your personal and professional life. Very often people tell me, oh, it's like a horoscope or Janam Patri. I said, no, it's not like that. But even if you look at it that way, what do you do after knowing is more important rather than just knowing it. So my focus whenever I use any psychometric tool, whether it's in coaching or training, is to help people apply the learned knowledge to improve their effectiveness. That's why I call it the journey is from awareness to action, is not just awareness. Because a lot of organizations tell us, we just want to know about our people. I said, how's it going to help you? you're spending on an average anything between 3,000 and 11,000 or 12,000 per person, different psychometric come in those that kind of cost. Why would you like to do that? Even if you're spending 1 lakh on someone, why? Let's do a program as well that helps them understand how am I going to use that learning from psychometric tool. Well, so this was about the services that we offer. In terms of numbers, Deepak has already shared, but here are a few numbers that we have had. I've been fortunate to work with more than 300 companies in the last 21 years across industries, be it manufacturing, service, IT, banking, finance, as banking and finance, education. I've trained teachers in schools. I've trained teachers in the defense, people in the defense ministry, telecommunication, shipping. If you look at my profile and I show you some of the names, the clients that we have worked with, sometimes people say, how do you manage to work with industries? One of the things that I learned initially coming from advertising, I've spent 12, 13 years in advertising, that if you really want to work with any organization, you need to know their business. And one of the strengths that Human Impact brings to the forefront is my ability as a business person myself, having run multiple companies, which one I sold in 2010 and the other one I closed because that was not a saleable company. The product was such. I share with them about, or rather learn their business before talking about it. Though, to be very honest, in many programs, in say a simple program in communication, people say, but why would you like to know about the company? I said, so that I can give them relevant examples. And a lot of testimonials that I have received from clients basically talk about his ability to understand our business. And that makes me feel good. And some of these companies that I've worked with have been with us since maybe 2000 and 2001. Companies like Siemens and Blue Star, who work with at least 50 different trainers, have been using our services since 2000, 2001. So 300 companies, more than 5,000 workshops in 20 years. Of course, this 5,000 includes workshops done by Lata as well, who has been equally active except for the last 2 years. And of course, Kannan knows Lata pretty well, and some of you, Deepak and all. She has totally moved out of training. So she started it, maybe passed it on to me. She says, I wish I sold this company to you, but maybe she'll have to meet Kannan about how to sell better a company. So I'll give her your number, Kevin, but please don't value company on a higher side, okay? More than 5,000 workshops in 20 years between Lata and me, workshops in 75 cities across 8 countries. I have had honor of traveling to Belgium as my first international client way back in 2013. And when I got this opportunity, I was wondering, I said, but do they understand English? They said, well, you'll have to simplify your English. So it was very interesting working there. And of course, most other places like Singapore, Dubai, Hong Kong, I've played a lot of work there. 130,000 managers and executives trained between Lata and me. 120 managers and business owners coached in the last 5 odd years. And of course, more than 300 keynote speeches and talks delivered. Well, that's me, which you know, so I don't want to spend time, but some of the certifications that I have got for myself in the last few years, I'm an MBTI certified practitioner from CPP Australia, an insights discovery practitioner, and happy to share with you, last month, that's in April, I've signed an agreement. I'm one of those 20 international trainers for discovery, insights discovery, who will be training the trainers in this field also now, worldwide. I'm an ICF certified coach, International Coaching Federation, and have been an associate member of Indian Society for Applied Behavioral Sciences, which does what we call behavioral labs. Here's a sample list of those 300 out of 300 clients that I've worked with. I've obviously brought the big names, because if I were to tell you Nital Software, you would ask me, what? So obviously Nital Software is missing and Jopasna Software is missing, 2 fairly decent sized companies in Pune. But companies right from CET to BPCL to Pricewaterhouse, Columbia, Capgemini, ICICI, Reliance, Tata Motors. Fortunate to work with the 17 out of 20 top IT companies in the first 5 years of my training career. Because our focus was primarily on IT in those days, but after 3-4 years, we realized, hey, we just don't want to work only with software engineers. And today, these are most of my clients that I'm currently also working with. I really don't see any IT company, because today I think I just have a couple of them on my roster, current clients. So that's about the credentials. Well, as I said, we run a learning company, not a training company. So I always believe that if you develop a passion for learning, and if you do so, you will never cease to grow. Thank you very much once again. I hope, I don't know whether I finished in 20 or less or more, but I'm sure Ram would give me a few more minutes to take any questions if anyone has. I'll be happy to answer.
Yeah, it can be taken. Anybody can ask questions, please.
Can I stop sharing?
Right. Wonderful. Very interesting.
Excellent.
So when you say you're a learning company, Sunil, what is the kind of do you work with a team of people, and are you also coaching other trainers to take it up in case you're not available or something like that? How is it that you all function?
Okay. So I do train the trainer workshops, and train the trainer workshops happen at in two different areas. One, of course, is a very generic train the trainer workshop, which focuses more on equipping people in delivery skills, a little bit of designing a program, delivering a program, and having the ability to engage with their audience. That's a very generic train the trainer program. We have also done some special train the trainer programs in certain areas. Like I remember this happened at BNP Paribas a few years back. They wanted us to cover 1,800 people. And between Lata and me, it was just impossible to devote that kind of time. It was huge business. It was difficult to say no to that business, but I realized if I focus only on that client, I will end up losing a lot of my days on other clients. So we suggested to them that we will do a train the trainer workshop. So we ran the 2-day program first for around 15 people, where we gave them the aspect of just the content. And then we worked with them for 2 more days in training them to be a good trainer in that particular program. And after that also, there were, I think, 7 or 8 people that I recall we had to do one-on-one hand-holding. I mean, to an extent, Lata and I would go and sit through when they were doing the first module. So I would say for me, train the trainer is limited to that. I have mentored a few trainers who are on their own today. Just to share with you, till 2010, we had 3 other trainers on our payrolls besides Lata and me. And we had around 6 or 7 associate trainers. But I realized at that time that there was a lot of work coming in. My company was doing around 120 days of training in those days. So selling those many number of days, looking at all those schedules, and I would decide which trainer goes where. I was becoming more of an administrator, which I hated. Because I'm a person who gets very restless when I have to do a lot of paperwork. So I said, I don't want to look into that. And when I closed that in 2010, people said, you're the first Sindhi whom we know who closes a profitable business. So I said, well, maybe this Sindhi is a little different, or he's a half Tamilian by now, because I was married for 18. I know, Kannan, I was waiting for your comment there. I've become a half Tamilian in my thought process. So whatever it was, so that's the train the trainer story, Ram. But I have mentored a few trainers, and some of them are doing very well. I've been in touch with them. And even today, if I feel there is some program that I cannot do, or I would not want to do, there are some programs that I have moved out. I immediately pick up the phone call of these guys and say, would you like to do that? And it does work that way. So I hope this answers your question.
Sunil, I have a question.
Sure, Sunil.
See, during my advertising agency career, I have attended several trainings, but these are all like paid picnics. Okay. So we spent good time in some great resort, something, and we also sat through some sessions. And we came back and again got back to business. Now, whatever meant to be used, we learned in a very close, somebody, put us in a hall and shut it from outside, said, you better learn this and then go out. So that was organized by the agency, mostly within the agency or somewhere nearby. There was no picnic in it. And as a result, I have got used to any kind of training which is very technical. Okay. Only branding, etc. Since you have the background in advertising, I'm tempted to ask, how does a person like me or us become coach, trainer? How do we mentor anybody? I do some assignments where some individuals ask me that I want to grow in, develop this skill set of mine into a business. So how do I promote myself? So I take some money and I tell them, and help them for some time. But how can I become a coach or a mentor of those guys?
Let me keep it very brief. Both of us have spent time in advertising. Advertising industry does not believe in training. Let me tell you, I have worked with 3 agencies in the last 12 years. FZB Ulka being one of them. I think you were with SVB Ulka, right? No, that being one of them. Gray being another one, and third is a small agency, which is more of a PR outfit. They don't believe in training for multiple reasons. I would not get into that. You saying that it's a picnic, and I did mention that very often it happens. But it's sad. Not everybody ends up learning, but we are happy as trainers and facilitators that even if a few people remember a few things after a few years, and they would be able to do that only when they practice. One thing that I always tell people, if you were to learn some technical skill in any field, whether it's finance, technical, any kind of skill, will you not start practicing it? But when it comes to soft skills or behavioral skills, most of us do not wish to practice because हमें लगता है हम सब पता है यार, ये जो ट्रेनर बोल रहा है वो मैं भी बोल सकता हूँ, उसमें मुश्किल क्या है, ये तो मुझे सब जानता हूँ मैं. If you know it, why aren't you practicing it? And
because that's not the culture.
Let me be very honest. I would not say that what we as facilitators tell them, they may not know. A lot of things they may be aware of. But again, it's a question of the way you communicate it to them. Now, coming to your second point about how to go about being a coach or a trainer, let's get on a call. I can share with all of you now, but I'm sure I'll eat into Kannan's time. But you need to just decide in which area would you like to train and coach people. Then it becomes easy, because being a generic coach or a generic trainer in today's time, there are plenty of them. And let me be very honest, last 15 months, the number of coaches and trainers in this country have grown by 10-fold. Every second person is either a coach. The other day, a 24-year-old kid who was attending my session says, "Sir, I'm a coach." I said, "Very good. What do you coach in?" A lot of people have problems in this world. I help them solve their problems. I said, "I have a problem. I'm talking to you. Can you solve that?" I don't say 24 is not the right age, because I have worked with a 27-year-old boy who was part of my team, and I think one of the finest trainers that I have worked with. This was a few years back. I mean, I would rate him better than me, and he would be around 40 today. He'll be around 40 today. One of the finest trainers. So it's not the age. I think it's just people think it's a very high-paying thing. Not initially. People have to realize that. It pays you over a period of time. So we can always get on a call tomorrow. Our call is anyway pending. So let's get on a call maybe sometime early next week. Yeah.
Okay.
I have that question actually. You kind of said that number of trainers have gone up by 10 times. You can't watch a YouTube video without one of these trainers popping in between in the ads and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
How do you sort of attract the clients towards your service? More a word of mouth, and you mentioned companies like Siemens or Blue Star or whatever have been working with you. So are these loyal customers that keeps the bread and butter going, and hopefully the cream and pies come from some referrals, because it's a very crowded market.
Absolutely, it is, and I think I just have definitely like to answer that. When we started way back in 99, of course, I had to really go out and with no background in training. Of course, training came to me with an accident. Lata was training when she was at TCS. She used to do some programs internally. And a client of ours, Patni Computers, when we were doing some assignments for them in technical documentation, asked her if she can train their programmers in writing technical documents, which is her forte. And when I was assisting her in that program, Sri Raman, who was the training manager, said, "Sunil, can you do a communication program?" I said, "Never done that. Why do you feel, you would like to give it to us?" He said, "I don't know, I get a feel you guys can deliver." I said, "Fine." And the bugger says, "But only thing is I need the proposal tomorrow morning, 11 o'clock. And the program is after 10 days. And later on, I figured out some trainer had backed out. But maybe it's a blessing in disguise. So Lata and I sat, because reading has been something that both of us have loved for ages. Okay, and I'm proud owner of 2,500 books, So We set up, did that program. And then when I started marketing after Patni Computers, when we felt that money was decent in those days also, I realized it was not easy because I didn't come from the training or HR background. And so does Lata. Both of us are from different backgrounds. But somehow we persisted. Within a couple of years, we had 2-3 other IT companies. And when you work with IT companies in those days, they had plenty of money and they were spending good amount on training. And we were delivering well, word of mouth spread. Patni Computer manager moved to Hexaware. We got entry there. Somebody else moved somewhere else. So within 2 years, I had around 10, 12 IT companies with me. And then we started looking at Blue Stars and Siemens of the world. In the last 10 years, Kevin, if I can be very honest, I haven't made a sales call. 10 years. And it makes me feel good, but also at the same time rusty. That today, if I have to pick up a phone and call someone, I don't know whether I'll be able to do a sales pitch. It may be difficult, to be very honest. Yeah. So
you say your strength perhaps is that in the legacy which is you built over a period of time, and now the reputation is taking care of itself. It's probably
referral. And today, let me be very honest. When I say today, for the last 5 years also, between Lata and me, we have decided we will not do more than 20 to 22 days of training. Lata, 8 or 10 days max. I would look at 12 to 14 days. Now with Lata moving out, I look at not more than 12 to 15 days of training. In fact, 2019-20, I ended up doing around 210 days of training in a year, which was crazy, which was the highest I've ever done. And that's why last year, despite not being so good, pretty comfortable. And, fortunately with me, no overheads now. I'm one of the blessed guys who says, take a yaar, main 2 din ka program kiya na, mere ko problem nahi hai. I'm being very honest. I mean, I've reached, and with coaching, so today it's more of referral, only referral. And a lot of HR people shift and they work with you, they're happy. They say, Sunil, I moved here. In the last 10 years, I think all those people that who have worked, recent example, somebody with whom I worked at Zycus and moved to Ingenico. I did a session for Ingenico, first session last week. I have a series of sessions coming from July. That's the way things work. So, but yeah, as Picasso said, it's not 2 minutes job, it's 20 years and 2 minutes.
Sunil, you said you're slowing down. Is it age or is it because you become rich and therefore fat?
I have always been rich.
A poor Sindhi doesn't happen, no?
Poor Sindhi doesn't exist. That's right. Poor Sindhi doesn't exist. I've always been rich, not in terms of money, but I think in the last 3-4 years, especially, I mean, Kannan knows, or I can share with you, my son was diagnosed with cancer. This was 3 years back, and that gave me a very clear idea about what life is. And after that, I know what I have is plenty. I would say plenty with God's grace and, our hard work. And even if I have to stop working today, I know I can still manage, but I will never stop working till the day I die. So I think it's knowing clearly what you're looking for, what you want, and doing that takes off all pressure, believe me. I mean, I think someone like you and Kannan would know it pretty well, yeah. Why am I telling you guys this?
Not like that. But Sunil, just wanted to know, when you said Inam, you've been doing, year after year. And is it the same people, or you see the different people in the audience?
Inam, I think 80% team has remained the same, Kannan, in the last 7 years. It's a small team. It's a team of 40 people. So when I first did, it was 37. Today, they are 42. So it's a very tight company. And that's the only program I do for them, because that's the only program they do in a year. It's a 3-day offsite. Like Sumo said, it happens in the best of places, right from Amritsar and one of them in Singapore. They fly the entire team because it's a small team. Amritsar, Goa, Kochi, Jodhpur, every year different location, 5-star hotels. Jiten Doshi, I think some of you may have heard of him, is who heads the company. And but that's why I said, now I have challenge. What new do I tell them? Yaar, sab kar diya. So 1 saal break mil gaya, I'm happy about that.
Do they give you what exactly is the topic you have to cover this year, something like that?
Inam, everything has been mine, because as I told you, they have no training culture. So when I met them the first time, when Rajiv was the CEO, okay, Rajiv Thakkar, and he said, Sunil, I'm going to give you around 8 hours in these 3 days. You tell me what you can do. And he briefed me about the team. And since then, the journey has started. So I've been covering different aspects. including a lot of activities. To an extent, I ended up doing a quiz for them once on leadership. Because I had to spend 1 hour. I said, और कुछ नहीं तो 1 घंटा quiz कर लेगा. But there was some learning out of that. But in general, now coming to that quickly to tell you, our way of working is even if a client says, I want to do a leadership program or management program, our questioning starts there. What are the challenges you're facing? Because the challenges that Kannan may face with his leaders in his organization, Ram may face a different challenge, or Raj may face a different challenge altogether. A leadership program cannot be the same. So while we have around 35 different modules, I package them and customize them, keeping in mind the customer's needs. So every proposal of mine, if you see, is different from the earlier one. There are no two proposals which are alike, very rare.
Sunil?
Yeah, Raj.
I have a question. Like you're talking in a 10. 10 is basically a Thane based entrepreneur, maybe from 2 crore to 200 crore people around here. Individually proprietorship or maybe private limited company, but run like a proprietorship company, not a corporate or management is in a place. I have seen your presentation. They are all big guys, big companies on with you. Have you seen any company came with you as a 2 crore or 5 crore company has grown up next 5 years or 10 years or 20 crore or 100 crore or 200 crore? And like for me, if you consider me, in a small company where we wanted to grow, but can be the money to be spent on training the people, will be the remaining there kind of. So we are always in dilemma कि भाई ये आदमी आज ट्रेनिंग दे दिया सुनील के ऊपर 25,000 जो भी खर्चा किया वो रहेगा कि नहीं रहेगा. So keeping the manager into place. Now I am in the same. Now last 5-10 years I have people remaining trying to make them leadership. So for a small scale industry, do you have something, a module can be developed and to retain, make them manager, give them confidence and bring their confidence level to make their life and the organizational skill big?
Sure.
That's what my question is.
2-3 parts. Let me quickly answer.
Sunil, just before asking, I just want to add one more question to Rajendra at what side. This question, you consider this question from the MSME owner's perspective, and this is regarding their pain point, is the employee attrition. It is not typically for the MSME companies, even the bigger IT companies. You must have heard in last month that the biggest IT company has an attrition rate of more than 35%. Does any of your program address this specific issue of employee attrition? This is just an additional question to Rajendra.
Sure. I'll come to your question, Mangesh. Raj, as I said in my client list, that there are 300 clients. I've shown you just 40 odd. So actually 33 to be precise. So there are a lot of companies that have been as small as your company and my company, maybe 5 crore, 8 crore, 10 crore, which have grown, or some of them may not have grown. So I've obviously not brought in those names because conformism is something that works. I couldn't have brought in a list of 300 names. But if you see my profile, there are. Now, coming to your second question, as a small company, do we have the programs? Yes, there are a lot of those small clients that we have had. Companies as small as 25, 30 people sometimes. Okay. But Inam may be a large organization that has only 40 people, as I said. Whether the program helps you retain people is a very debatable question. Now, I'll combine this for both MNC as well as small scale, Mangesh. It depends on what as an organization are you focused on when you're training people. When you train people, are you telling them this training is going to help them do their job at this organization, or are you telling them this training is going to help them in their career? It's also the way you market it, for both as the L&D team, that is learning and development team, and for me as a facilitator. 2, people can be given a lot of skills, attitude can be built. Now, people don't stay in an organization only because someone is providing training for them. There are many other factors that make a person be in an organization. And when I do a lot of leadership work, I have an entire module on retaining people. What is it that you can do to retain people better? Because one of the biggest challenges, and I would love to talk on this one day if there's time permits.
Sure.
One of the challenges is that most of us as entrepreneurs, especially small-time people, Raj, believe that the biggest motivator for people is money. That's bullshit. I'm sorry to use a word. There are enough surveys done. I can tell you the company that I ran, my designers in those days were paid in 8 and 10,000 rupees, and some of them stayed with me for 9 years. Whereas outside they could have got 25,000 in those days. And sometimes I wonder why and how did they stay with me, and I get answers because they were part of the organization fully. These young girls, most of them young girls. So I think there are a lot of things that you can do. Training is just one aspect. It does help you. But when you talk about, is there a module for a small scale company? The concepts will remain the same. The application of that concept, how do you use in a small organization, would vary. And that's where I said that our focus is always on knowing the organization and business, so that the examples that I give could be related to Siemens, could be related to Tata Motors, or could be related to Fractal, which is a mid-sized organization of 1,500 people, or could be related to MicroMaster, which is maybe 50 or 100 people or whatever, So examples would change, concepts would remain the same, and knowing the audience level, we also simplify it better. That's what we do. Sometimes shifting it to Hindi. Yeah. I'm doing a program for rather talk for 2 hours for Suzuki Motors in Gujarat. There's a series of talks, 6 sessions next month. I started one this week, where I'm speaking in a combination of English and Hindi. Can you believe it? They said Gujarati. I said I will murder Gujarati, so I don't want to do that. So let me speak in English and Hindi.
Okay.
Ram, you already got a topic for our next session. We just need to confirm with Sunil. Yeah. Thank you, Sunil.
He has given me a job of another thing which I'm arranging first.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone.
I sympathize with you because I know a lot of people believe that leadership can be subcontracted. कि कोई coach को या consultant को बुलाया मेरा काम होता है. नहीं होता है.
मैं एक last question पूछूं.
Can we hold the question? Can we hold the question?
Kannan is already sent me a message. Shut up.
For Kannan to finish his presentation, and if there is time, we will have some more questions for Sunil. So Sunil, please stay back, and if there are a few questions that you can take at the end, we will take it up.
Yeah, and secondly, we have Sunil. We can all have a word with Sunil one-on-one as well.
Anytime.
Thank you so much, Sunil. You very rightly said we need to work till the time we live, and to keep working, we need to keep learning as well. Thank you so much. Yeah, and now I introduce the other stalwart for the day, R. Kannan. Kannan, I have prepared a very short introduction for you, so please pardon me if I fall short of it. Okay. Kannan is a commerce graduate from Mumbai University. Started his business journey in pharmaceutical retail with a chemist outlet, Novacare's Chemists in Vikhroli. Soon diversified into operating as a wholesale distributor, stockist in FMCG and pharmaceutical products, reaching out to all retail outlets in Mumbai. Very recently, in August 2018, he hived off his hospital business under Novacare Drug Specialities Private Limited into a separate entity named Novacare Healthcare Solutions Private Limited, which excludes his Goa business vertical, and divested it into Enthro Healthcare Solutions Private Limited. Kannan has continued his entrepreneurial journey with Novacare Drug Specialities Private Limited in Goa and is backed by his daughter and son-in-law. So kind of we can hear him from we can hear the 3.0 version of Kannan today.
Just to add, Deepak, what Kannan sir doesn't need an introduction.
इसलिए थोड़ा सा brief रखा so that we can hear more from him.
Thank you, guys. Before starting the presentation, yes, what I just wanted to say is that actually I thought that I am taking a sabbatical, and just to tell you, when I sold off this business, I was told to continue with them for 7 years, and I really fought with them and said that at the most I can do this 5 years of handholding. So that is how the contract was signed for 5 years. Incidentally, this enterprise is backed by a New York-based private equity, OrbiMed. They focus only on healthcare, quite a well-known, and almost in their management, they have 80% of them are medical doctors. Can you believe it? So much of focus on healthcare. So when they took it up, they said that, the handholding, and also we want to run it and we want to increase it, the number of branches. Because for them, on the day one, mine was the first acquisition, just to say. They got 8 branches. And they were saying that, in 5 years, we want to take it to the next level. In the very first year, I added 4 more branches. Okay, but after that, I really felt that, enough, I can't be really doing this, because some of the time the decisions which are taken in the boardroom with so many people and whatnot, and for me it was from a corporate of Cipla, giving up and getting into business, and again moving back to corporate where decisions are being forced upon, like sometimes the decisions are forced upon. I can see even the CEO is just looking here and there what's to be done, because the private equities can be, like more than the venture capital. I would say they are a VC, but they want, good amount of top line coupled with bottom line, which was actually an irony in, this pharma distribution. It's very, very wafer thin margin. So what they wanted to emulate was the US model of Mackensen, AmerisourceBergen, and Cardinal. These three distributors in US virtually account for 89 to 90% of their entire US pharma. Can you believe it? No company, let it be Pfizer or Merck or Abbott, nobody can do directly any business. Everybody is routing it through Mackensen. Just to tell you, Mackensen San Francisco building is something like a skyscraper. You can't believe that it is a pharma distributor who's operating from there, and it is because of the high turnover, top line is so focused. The bottom line could be anywhere between 1 to 1.5%. That is the kind of business and bottom line they are doing, and this is what exactly they want to replicate in India. It could happen because Entro, by and large, if you see, it is not the first attempt. Already Apollo started with Keymed, then second one was Ascent, which is Dial for Health. They started as Dial for Health. Again, one of the young guy, very young guy, Dr. Bhaskar Shah's son, Siddharth, he started, and incidentally, they own the pharmacy, and now MedLife has also merged with them. So they are also into, more of consolidating the back end for supplying to the retailers. So I think in time to come, it is going to be like this. More and more pharma companies are opening up, and they are actually shit scared. Huh? They are not liking it. Pharma as a industry, they are not liking consolidation. They prefer it's a splinter group. More and more people are talking to them. The All India Organization of Chemists and Druggists, or those people are involved in day-to-day affairs. They are any day liking it rather than consolidating and talking to a few handful of stockists, which becomes very difficult for them to even bargain. Their negotiating skill goes up. Like, for example, just to tell you, Wellness Forever, which is having about 120 or so, he is virtually asking the companies to directly supply to them, knocking out the distributor. So I think in time to come, it is going to be like this. And that is one of the prime reason I'm coming to, that I had to take a call that, either I be so big that I want to be doing what Entro is doing, which I was not really thinking that, I should be, because my age was not, I was not getting any younger. And I felt, no, I think I can't do this. That is how I was not actually looking out for a buyer, but actually, as Kevin keeps saying that, you can't sell a business. People, they buy a business, they look out for you. And it happened in my case. Initially there were 2-3 offers from Canada and UK. And after that, in fact, I had approached Mackensen directly, whether you would be interested if you want to take it up, and that didn't happen. They said it's too early for us to take a footprint in India. We are not looking at it, because they were shit scared of the kind of compliance and other things. Can you believe it? We think that US FDA is so big and whatnot, but actually Indian pharma industry is the one of the most controlled, and you people should be really lucky that you are getting it much cheaper. If you compare the rates and whatnot, we are far better off. Now, coming back to this, and that is how it happened that, this Entro Healthcare, incidentally, it is floated by the CEO of Alchem, Mr. Prabhat Agarwal, along with him, IQVIA, which is IMS ORG. They are into market research. That guy got together, and those two started this. And of course, the OrbiMed funded it in a big way. And that is how the story started. And in my case, I kept it, all my assets came out to me, because they said that we don't want to add up any of the assets. So only the business was hived off and given. And except for Goa, I said, because in Goa, I didn't have much of a corrugation box business I have. And also I have my super stockiship and warehousing, which I do. So once I kept, because majority of the real estate, what I had created, by I don't know. A lot of people used to say that, whether you made a mistake of going on investing in real estate. But I feel looking at DMart, I think I did the wiser thing, because every time I used to be asked for a collateral, I had my own asset to give it to the bank. And of course, over a period of time, I became a glorified employee of HDFC, because they made more money than me. Because unlike Gujaratis and Marwadis, entire money, my entire business was funded by HDFC. And they were quite happy with my interest income and overall. And they wanted me. They will ask every year in the the appraisal. They'll say, this year how many branches you are planning to open. I said, yeah, enough. I can't be now really handling. And I was roaming around so much. I really got fed up, and this offer came out to be a boon for me. And that is how I got out. And just to tell you, all these guys, it is not, I think I incidentally see Karthik also, Karthik Rajiv's friend, who knows this business quite well in terms of funding and other things. I had shared all this data with him also. They said, earlier the better you get out, because it is a wafer thin margin and I'm not able to do it. So it is not all that hunky-dory what you are thinking. And in terms of money I would have made, it could be a fraction. I can dare say Kevin would have made much better than what I made. And for me, it was a big problem, like getting out was a big issue. So that helped me. Now, coming back to this current business, what I'm holding, I told you, I think maybe now Ram can start this. So this is now Novacare, where I'm focusing on packaging. And I should tell you that all of us should sometimes, if you have 2-3 verticals, if you are managing it, sometimes you should take a pause and actually ask where you are focusing. If just because my focus was on the 200 crore business and the 6 crore of business, I didn't really pay attention. Today also, if you ask me, I actually feel quite bad about it, because this was a value addition was excellent, and it is actual hardcore manufacturing, and it is low tech. Very frankly, I am a commerce graduate. I don't have much of a technical knowledge like Kevin would have or anybody else would have here. And for me, it was a big problem that, I didn't want to really go out for a high tech. So this packaging really helped me. And that is how I started this packaging way back, 15 years back. And it was more to encash on the income tax benefit. That time it was VAT. So I said, okay, all that benefits, I'll take it. And that is how I started. And all the pharma companies I was supplying. But the only thing I paid attention was no compromise on quality. Whatever, a lot of people, they supply, if they are supplying a 2,000 cartons, 2,000 shippers, believe me, about 500 shippers on top to bottom, it will be top and bottom, it will be having the same, the quality in terms of bursting strength and all that, But the moment you go deeper into it, it will be having a lower bursting strength. Money is made in that way. For me, the biggest consolation was I never touched that. I said, no, if we give, this is the quality and this is what I will ensure. Because of that, I could really gather the entire pharma industry was with me in Goa. But over a period of time, I didn't really focus, and my focus was on this 200 crores. And that is how I didn't really pay attention, and I had recruited somebody and I put it up. It was not really doing all that well after some time. And it went up to 6 to 7 crores also, about 130 tons of conversion. We want to even 150 tons of conversion from paper. The raw material is a craft paper and the end product is the shipper. And from there, it came down to, can you believe it, when I sold my business here, and this was about 20 tons, from 150 to 20 tons. Next slide, please. Yeah, you can start now. So as I was telling you now, how this Dharmesh and Pooja came into, because my son and daughter both were not interested in the business, and they made it very clear that you do what you feel like. And as you all know, Hema is into more of creative and other things, and she was not at all interested in. She helped me a lot in the initial days, and after that she took a backseat. And Rahul is into music production. He's doing quite well for himself. And Pooja is into dancing. And after marriage, then Dharmesh came into your life and family. And that is how one of these days when I was speaking to him last, I think after marriage immediately, I think, no, during the lockdown period, when they were locked down even in US, Pooja was locked up in the New Jersey home. And that time I spoke to them and they said, no, in fact, we are thinking that we will shift soon to Canada. He has taken a permanent residency in Canada. I said, yeah, if you're, and what are you planning to do? Leaving a job of Aravindo Pharma. He was doing quite well. There was no visa problem, nothing. He would have continued forever there. He said, no, I want to really grow. And I think that I should look out for a thing in Canada. It offers much more scope. I said, if it is a 5-year PR, why don't you try the first 2 years here? If it doesn't work out, you can always go back to Canada. And I have a ready-made business, which I'm going to kill it. And I'm not interested in continuing because having sold the main business, corrugation box is not something I'm going to really be paying attention. And that is how they thought about it. And within a month, they took a call. I told him to resign the job, and he took it up nicely. He said, "Okay, let me try." Incidentally, his father is also into similar, not exactly the same, but similar kind of a business in packaging. He's into stickers and whatnot. But of course, in his case, he doesn't deal with pharma companies directly. He deals with intermediaries, and he supplies to them, and they in turn supply to. So he, incidentally, he's also wanting to, in another couple of years, he wants to hang his shoes. He's saying that enough of. In fact, he is now inspired more from me. He's saying that this is the right time I should take a call. And that is how Dharmesh came back along with Pooja. And now we have settled down. The first thing I said that you cannot be operating from Bombay. And they are now positioned in, actually the residency is in Goa. Both of them live in Goa. Incidentally, she's here. Okay, just for 1 month we have brought her back. And at this juncture, I think quite a good crowd is there, 24 people. I should even declare I'm going to be a grandfather soon.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you. So that is how Pooja is not actively
Many
dealing.
congratulations.
Thank you, dear. So yeah, Pooja is also helping in administration and whatnot. I find that now she is paying more attention to the business. Maybe if these people were, or Rahul or Pooja were part of it, this business could have taken a different shape and we would have gone different ways. But anyway, nevertheless, I think they are enjoying what they were doing, and now she is enjoying what she's doing. Yes, next slide, please. So Novacare has always been a ISO certified, and I pay a lot of attention to that. It is not just paying some money and getting out of it and getting the certificate. I pay a lot of attention to the certification process. In fact, the guy who did the whole thing, he was quite impressed because unlike other corrugation box manufacturing, we were paying attention to quality and also the way it is maintained. Every pharma company really appreciated the way we are maintaining our factory, which is clean and neat. And that is how I got virtually, you name the pharma company in Goa, I'm having it. Yes, next slide, please. This is a typical organization chart which I made, along with now my role is to mentor them. And actually, I'm thinking, I already finalized one of the companies, the name of the company. Again, I'm going to do this lump sale of packaging, like the way I did distribution. I'm planning to hive off this packaging business, hive it off as a Novacare Packaging Private Limited. Okay, I'm going to sell that company to them. So that their skin in the game is there. So it is Dharmesh and Pooja's business. I'll be there for some time to do the mentorship and whatnot, but I want to stay out of this business also. So eventually I will land up only as a glorified landlord for the warehouses which I have in Goa and Vikhroli and Delhi. And that is my intention, that, okay, the rental income and little bit, I have a super stockist of H&H Pharma, which again is a wafer thin, and I'm not adding up in that business of Novacare packaging. Yeah, next slide. This is the kind of mission now here, mission and vision. Again, Pooja and Dharmesh have paid a lot of attention, and they are trying to do. I do believe that, youngsters, they want to do a good job. It makes my life easier. I'm only focusing on recovery and other things, keeping on telling them that how compliance, again, Mangesh is here. I have to say, Mangesh has been with me for all the compliance and other things. Thankful to him because he is one person who taught it. Of course, we have been always following the law of the land. So there it made a lot of difference. He said that all the more compliance may helped us, and that is one of the time when I shared with even Raj, and Raj also came along with Mangesh. And I feel that if you are roaming around and whatnot, first thing is that set your home straight. It should be absolutely no problem. Any amount of law enforcement or compliance, anybody who comes, you have no problem at all. And that is one of my forte, and even the companies have really appreciated. And from the day one of my business, I'm having PF and ESIC. just one, even if it was 5 people. In fact, there was a ESIC raid thinking that I may have 25 people, and now only I'm engaging ESIC because they couldn't believe that for 5 people somebody would ask for. I said, see, PF, in fact, PF said that you don't need to. I said, no, I want to attract talent, so I want to have this. And that is how I enrolled. Anyway, next slide, please. This is the vision we have in now. It is a renewed vision, I should say, because now I told even Dharmesh also that he should become part of this IIP, Indian Institute of Packaging, and do something more than this. And if there is a possibility, we can even expand and go into more and more of tertiary packaging, as well as the whiteboard cartons and other things. Of course, the business is very highly competitive, but still there is a possibility that we can do well. Next slide. Our bankers, because I take pride in HDFC Bank, though they've been, this is one thing which I really want to share. They've been ruthless with me. They are very ruthless. I've been, initially I had Saraswat Cooperative Bank, which is chalta attitude, they will do all this. But HDFC has taught me, in that way, because they are compliance, they are so stickler to system, you become part of their system. And that I think that, all of us businessmen, ethics, I feel that in terms of anything, I would say HDFC Bank really rules, and no wonder they are number one private bank today in India, I would say. Next one. And just to tell you that they gave me a lot of, the overdraft facility and all the facilities, no questions asked, because once they realized within 3-4 years, they became so pally with me. All the entire, I may not know the top level person, but they were always with me in encouraging and bringing up the business. Our core competence is in packaging, the packaging design, consultation and development, which is happening in a big way now. Each and every company, we are paying a lot of attention and telling them that, it should be, because normally people don't pay attention to packaging. They feel that, yeah, it is a waste of money, which is what we really go and tell them that, if you do the packaging in this way, because this comes from pharma, because pharma does a lot of, like Cipla, I know they used to do the packaging and actually pack it. 1 year before, they will send it as a transport worthiness to know. They will send it to Kanyakumari, to Kashmir, to Haryana, come back to Bombay and see how the packaging is. And I remember Mr. Hamid used to say, if a package cannot be lifted, it should not be more than 10 to 11 kgs maximum. If it cannot be lifted by a person, you should not design the packaging. So if you notice, Cipla will never have anything beyond 10 kg. Yeah, next one. Ram, next one. Yeah, this is the kind of machines what we have to maintain the quality. And again, in quality control, many of the packaging fellows, they will download the pack shot and this one and show it as that we are having all these things, and they don't have this. They send it to an outside agency to do all this testing. In my case, for last 15 years, right from the day I started the business, I had all these machines. And it's quite a cost for maintaining this, because majority of them, they are all from Gujarat and all, they come and do the maintenance, and Bombay also. But I take pride in this, this is one thing which has kept us alive. Yeah, next slide. These are all the quality control equipments what we have. Next one, you can now skip through a little more. Yeah, this is the compression strength, to know the box which is made, how much is the force it can take, when how the people operate in airports and truckers, how they operate, how much is the compression strength of the sheet once it is made. We make 3-ply, 5-ply. 1 second, my battery is running low. Yes. So that way I have taken care of. Yeah, next one. These are other things. Okay, moisture tester. Again, we have a drying room, Typically, corrugation people don't invest in a drying room, because drying room is required. Goa being a heavy monsoon area, once you make a corrugation box, it is actually wet, it can't have, and it is all from recycled material, it is totally organic, it is recycled material. So what happens is the fungus has to develop. If the fungus is not developing, there is a problem, because today the packaging, everybody is insisting it should be recyclable. So the problem is, it is a double-edged sword. The fungus comes, then the pharma companies will have a heavy problem. So we try to do it in a dryer room when it is monsoon and other things. So we keep it in the dryer room for about 2-3 hours and then send it across. We check the moisture of the finished product also. Yeah, next one. This is a typically SOP is what we have. Of course, this a lot of things we need some more changes, which I have been telling Dharmesh, and he has picked it up. He is from production and he is a mechanical engineer, so he understands these things very well. Yeah, next one. This is typically the ISO certification, which is now renewed also. Next. This is the kind of machinery what we have. We have also invested in the best of the machinery. Micro is supposed to be the best one in corrugation. But of course, I don't have the automatic. These are all semi-automatic. Automatic plants, will cost me something like 5 to 6 crore per line. And the problem is, already there are a couple of them and they are not really making money. But the problem is I will not be able to supply to a Nestle or a Hindustan Lever because they need huge shippers, number of shippers. For them, they need automatic shippers. So I'm not into that league. It is more onto pharma and stationery and some breweries and all I tried, but breweries, they don't pay. They want to give orders, but they tell you, please don't ask for money. So I stopped supplying to them. Next one. This is the corrugation mouse. This is a 62 inches machine. This is the cutting machine, which is now it's quite a lot of good production is happening in these machines. In between, there was a lull. Next slide. This is also made very frankly. I got this ready-made because we were to talk to all the pharma companies. So that is how it was made for them. So it could be boring for our guys. Okay, next one. Yes, slotting machine, stitching. Now here also we have made a little bit of time and motion study we did, and we took it all in one line so that making it the open area is kept and it goes in the same. The process is followed in the same way, and the machines are kept in that way. Yeah, next one. This is a printing machine which was not being utilized. That's why the condition is a little poor. But it was a brand new machine, and we were not really getting orders. Now Dharmesh has been really successful in getting this printing machine, which is a 2-colored machine. We are doing this. Typically in corrugation, what happens is because the finished product consumes a lot of space, no supplier, no vendor wants, no client wants the material to be coming to them in one bulk. They expect us to keep it in stock after finishing and keep supplying to them as and when they want. So that is why people normally avoid pre-printed cartons, pre-printed shippers. What happens is then you are stuck with that stock. That is one of the prime reason I used to tell even other pharma companies, from what I've learned from Cipla and others, that do not print the corrugation shipper. The shipper is always overprinted in the line. That makes your life easier, and also sort of bringing uniformity in bulk of the packing. Don't have too many different sizes. It makes your life difficult. Yeah, next plan. This is the kind of, the mezzanine storage, 3,000 square foot we have developed for keeping their finished products. So our billings starts only on the day we dispatch. So can you believe it? Today I invest in stocks. I invest in their orders. I make the order. Sometimes the orders are not taken for 6 months. Though they made the order and they have kept it with us. For 6 months, it is a dead inventory for me. And I'm worried about the fungus development and all those things. That is one of the main worries for us. Yeah, next one. This is the DG set. We have a dedicated DG. Again, there's a little bit of a power problem in Goa that is being maintained, and heat drying room. Of course, it is an outside photo. Okay, inside the dryer room. Yeah, next one. We had a battalion of, actually we had a fleet of vehicles which was about 6 or 7, with even for ferrying out employees. So all that slowly I sold out because the number of years the vehicle age was also considered. So now I ended up with these 2 vehicles. We will have to add up vehicles as and when the orders are going up. Yeah, next one. This is the kind of zoom shots of the entire factory. It's about 7,500 square foot area, and it is in a 1 acre plot. This is just, there are 2 buildings. One is a warehouse part of it, which I'll come to it later. This is the factory interiors, where you see a lot of sheets made. We make 3 ply, 5 ply, and 7 ply. 7-ply is the biggest, and 9-ply, some people from refrigerators and other people order, which doesn't come to us. Yes, next one. This is a schematic interior of the factory, because these are all required for pharma. They make our life miserable. They come and see, and we learn a lot from pharma, because the quality and other things. That's why the breweries and whatnot, they go crazy when they look at, the kind of cleanliness we maintain in a corrugation box factory. If you go to a typical Bombay-based corrugation, you will understand. In fact, the guy who really taught me corrugation is one Mr. Bhaskar Chitalia. He has got a couple of factories in Palghar and Kopoli. He saw the factory, he was shocked. He was saying that, in fact, his children and all, they had come and they said, Papa, why our factory is not like that, to that extent. But the irony is, I convert today 30 tons and he converts in one factory 200 tons. So you can imagine, and virtually the same size. So that is the kind of scope which I'm giving it to Dharmesh and all if they develop. Yes, next one. This is the exterior factory. So this one, what you are seeing, the factory is the L-shaped one. That is the factory. The other one, warehouse and office area, what is written. That is the factory talk. We will talk about it when Ram will show that. Yes. This is typically the production process flow chart. Again, as I told you, it was made for pharma industries, and also I had to show all this. Next one. This is the variations in fluting and boards, what we are using. And e-flute also here started now, where it is required. And these things now being looked at, in a big way. And that makes me really, it is actually, all these things made me look up and say that, I didn't focus where I am supposed to have focused, 200 crore of top line kept me busy. And the kind of, like in virtually about, if I had done about 40 crores, 30 to 40 crores in a year, this would have given me much better profit than what I had done all these years in pharma. Anyway, next. So you can see our pharmaceutical, 85% of our product mix goes to pharma. And then the rest is to electronic, stationery, and others. It is typically guys like, some breweries who are doing this Bacardi and other places, where Bacardi Breezer, they use our shippers. Yeah, that's it. I think next one. These are all the kind of customers we have. These are all people who are continuing with me for last virtually 18 years of my business in Goa. Okay. Ncube Ethicals has gone out and they are coming back again. Yes. Next one. These are the kind of products now. We want to develop more and more products. I told even Dharmesh, let us develop the products and keep it in one place because it consumes a lot of space. I said, we have to show it to them. Because in India, still you don't find a common man reaching out for corrugation boxes. He always gets it from the, Bangar wale se mil jata hai. But if you go to abroad, Costco and other places, you will find corrugation being kept there. And typically, every resident will have corrugation boxes abroad, be it UK or USA, they have it. And when somebody gets a pink slip, you would have seen in the Hollywood movies also carrying this box of documents back home. So that kind of usage is there abroad, which we have to. In fact, he's asking me why we are not having. I said, you will have to develop. It is not going to be that easy, Yes. This is the kind of, with the honeycomb packing and laminated shippers, pre-printed shippers, two-colored. You can see these are all two-colored. And this is typically the shipper which is designed and given, and then they cut it. And this is how it is. It is point of sales. POS packing. It is known as the left side corner. These are all. Yeah. Next one. Yeah, no problem. That's it. Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah, Ram. Yes. This is where we are in Goa. And in fact, incidentally, I want to tell you that I had developed one more warehouse in 1 acre, about 45,000 square foot, brand new, which was used for almost 2 years for warehousing. I sold that to one of the company, which is that, it is Tulip Diagnostics. They are into COVID testing and all. I sold it to them. So I have only one plot and there's 30,000 square foot developed. I have FSI. I can develop it later. Yes, next. Ramu. Yes, this is the Novacare warehouse 2. There are 2 buildings in my warehouse in Goa. So this is one of the large plot, little more than 1 acre. So that building, what you are seeing on the backside, that is the new warehouse which I developed and sold. Incidentally, that I'm not talking about also. In fact, I have a beautiful video of that, but anyway, it is sold, so I'm not wanting to talk about that. Yeah, next one. This is the security cabin and all. Now needs a lot of painting and other things. So सामने हमारे सामने तो भाई यार CMM Logistica, VRL, Blue Dot, everybody is there. So we have no problem. Right next to me is CWC, Central Warehousing, and little ahead is Coca-Cola, and left side is Sanofi. I'm surrounded by all pharma companies also. So these are, between the two buildings, I had put up this just to ensure that, the delivery, and because the Goa monsoon is heavy, so you need this kind of a coverage. And long overdue is this asphalting of the road now. We have to do that. Next. This is another entrance, outside photo. Yes. So all four sides, there's an arterial. This is the internal view. Yeah. This is the internal one of the AC area, because the height of the ceiling, we had kept it low and with no windows, so that the air condition efficiency is maintained. I used to use this for almost 15 years for Cipla, and then to Indoco, then to Zadus. Now I'm using it through one Machado karke, one guy from Goa. He is using it in a big way. Next one. This is where this height is, incidentally, you are not able to see the height. It is about 19 feet height it's an RCC construction. We are using it for keeping the rolls, which I've shifted now. This is now available space. The enclosed place, what you're seeing in the, aluminum partition, that is being used by a couple of logistic guys, Grover Logistics, and the second guy is V France. He's into pharma again. Yeah, next one. This is another view of the ground floor area. Yes. This is on the first floor, which is now incidentally vacant. It is about 8,500 square foot with Kota stone, which is with mirror polish and whatnot. Virtually, when you walk, you can see your reflection. That is a kind of, and in Goa, every roofing has to be like this, because I had to do it long back, 20 years back. Can you believe it? Now the FSI has gone up by almost one extra. And I can't use it because my roofing is like this. Now the entire area is gone, unless and until I demolish and again restart, the FSI is gone for me to use it. On the other side, I have a terrace, which I can use it. Yes, next one. This is the other view of the second floor. Yeah, that's it. Thank you, Ram, for incorporating this. And incidentally, I just wanted to tell you guys that we are, thinking of, we have taken a plot in this one even for residents, and maybe, I'll be going back and forth to Goa and this one and developing a villa there. And now at this stage, I thought that, okay, let me start enjoying a little bit of my life also. Yes. That's it from me. Any questions, anything you can?
No. Last point was the most powerful, giving an incentive to come there.
Yes.
Kannan, there is no doubt that your administration skills and your statesmanship skills are perfectly, one of the best out there. But additionally, in business, you also need to have that fantastic sales skills, because at the end of the day, everything has to be sold. How did you go about, building up a sales team, even in Goa now that you recently started? What is the approach that you have taken to, restart the business and get it going at a bigger level? What is the entire approach that you have taken out?
See, one thing is that, this, when I've been telling that, distribution, I didn't make much money. But one thing is that all my learning comes from distribution. I can't be unfair to that part, because whatever I am today, I learned it from the distribution skills, what I learned. And typically, I've handled even a Johnson & Johnson and a Lakme, where you have this anti-boots, Strepsil, Charana, and all those. So except for a barber shop, I was visiting everybody, Bakada fellows, the hardware fellows for PCI. So that, actually you learn a lot from these people. And what happened was, apart from I had a battalion of about 20, in Bombay, I had about 20 sales reps, and I used to personally go and visit many of the chemist shops. And I also, apart from visiting the companies, visiting the market, this is what I keep telling Dharmesh. I don't know how far he will pick up that. visiting the market is the most important thing. The more you stay put. In the last 5-6 years of my business, I was virtually, constrained to my cabin, talking to them. Every now and then there is a company fellow coming, like morning to evening, you are only giving appointments and talking to them. And everybody is trying to look at how to dump more goods or how to ensure that their sales pick up. And I was representing virtually the top 50 pharma companies. So it is like from Abbott to Dr. Reddy's to Torrent to Cipla, Glenmark, you name the company, they are coming, and everybody wants to target the same chemist and same product. It is not that the molecules are different. Like in COVID days, you see remdesivir, so many people are there. Now it is another matter because the stock was not available. But you just imagine, we had 1 month back, before the second wave, we had remdesivir expiring. It is a 3-month shelf life and expiring. We didn't know what to do. The company said, no, we will not take back. And one fine morning, the second wave, we didn't have remdesivir to sell. So it is like that. But in terms of, selling, again, let me tell you, the hardcore selling is taken care of by the pharma companies in the distribution. It is, for me, it is only going to the market and talking to them. And the later part of the, my almost 10 years of my business was on hospital sales. Hospitals, again, best of the talents are there. Hospital, it is more of a corporate. The people who are working are well educated. So I enjoyed that, interaction with, in majority of the places, I was virtually interacting with the doctors. Here, for example, Bethany, Mr. E.J. Stephen, he is not a doctor. I'm talking about Dr. Stephen Alfred is different. E.J. Stephen is from Crompton. He is the CEO there. So like this, then Dr. Ajay Thakkar in Jupiter. So all these people, when you go and talk, you get a different wavelength. And it is, believe me, today hospitals are not making that kind of money. It is only this COVID days and whatnot they are able to. Otherwise, today starting a hospital is asking for trouble. There's more and more people are getting out of hospitals. Why would a Vocart sell this one, or even Cadila got out of majority of the hospitals this one? And Cipla said, we will never start a hospital. They have a chest disease foundation. It is more of a research. But otherwise, people are shit scared of starting a hospital, especially in Indian climate. So coming back to, for me, it was selling to them was much easier. It is not that I'm doing the actual sale. The actual sale happens from the pharma company. Okay, I'm only trying to ensure making the product available at the right time in abundant quantity. There should be virtually majority of the hospitals like LH Hiranandani in Powai. I'm not joking. They will have the patient ready for surgery with a scalpel, and they'll say, "Arey, wo bangana yaar." Sometimes it is, immediately I have to virtually supply in half an hour, ensure those, like today, the antifungal Fosome is selling so well. Those Fosome is not a big seller as such that time. So, but one patient starts, it's about 20 vials or 30 vials. So even for me, I'm so worried keeping how much of stock I should maintain. So all that, like for me, it was more than the sale. It was even keeping what are the kind of stock I should maintain, how to ensure that, even if the stock, they are not going to deliver, I will send the person and get it delivered. All that made a lot of difference. Beyond the time, I could make out that competition was so high, I had to go beyond, geographically, I had to expand. That is how my 8 branches came up. I went up to Dehradun there, here in South Hyderabad, Chennai and all I added up later, Chennai, Bangalore and other things. So that is the sale part of it. Yes, now the sale part of it will actually happen, because in my correlation box, I need to really, unfortunately, what happened is every time I've been visiting the Goa factory and then trying to visit the factories of other pharma companies, due to COVID, they have extensive, Cipla mein, virtually I spent 1 hour to get myself scanned, because they have a doctor, you have to go through all the tests, and then your, temperature is up to theek hai. But after that, filling up the questionnaire, I said, yeah, now I don't want to visit. So majority of them we do over the phone. But post-COVID, hopefully, there is a period known as a post-COVID. So maybe that time I will see what's to be done. And again,
Ram, we have a question for Mr. Jairaman Nair. You want to ask a question?
Yes.
Can you just unmute him?
Okay. Yeah, I have unmuted. Yep.
Yeah. Go ahead, sir.
So it was wonderful listening to Sunil and as well as Mr. Kannan. Absolutely great. And, I stay in a senior citizen home at Coimbatore. And our program is supposed to be 11 to 12:30. My lunch starts at 12. Before they go to close the canteen, I will take up a couple of minutes before I leave this place. It was a wonderful listening to both of you and many of you. And two things which are you able to listen to me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. One person, he is the person who is, I'm saying, Mangesh. And he said about 35% people leave and because of attrition. Only one thing which I want to emphasize, Sunil has been training the people amazingly well. And Kannan has been doing amazingly well in terms of running an organization, which is more difficult than training people. What I have created is something called the CREAM report. Now we have, CREAM is corporate governance, risk management, earnings, accounting quality, and management quality. Briefly, I'll finish it off. There are about 170 process blocks in an organization, out of which E is the only quantitative, which is about 12. The balance 158, they're all qualitative elements of management. We emphasize, ISO 9000, we emphasize on the quantitative elements of management. The CREAM report is being created to measure the ethical assets of a company. So ethical assets, the CREAM report is created not for the company, but for an individual. That is on return on intangible. What is the denominator? Denominator is the powerhouse of each individual. Yeah.
I think you should ask a question to be fair to our speakers. We will maybe, if you have a program, you could request the team of 10, they might have a program for you.
Yeah, I am commenting on there too. See, I appreciated this one, that is Sunil's training program, and the, Kannan's program on production and distribution. So what I want to tell is that I would like to emphasize on companies to look into the sustainability of value system. That's all. We are focusing only on the sustainability of efficiency. What I heard about is the efficiency. What I would like to emphasize on the value system. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you for your feedback, sir.
Kannan sir, I have a question. Are you supplying to this e-commerce company, Amazon and Flipkart, the packaging solutions?
No, because what happens is incidentally, these people are all in Bombay and elsewhere in Bangalore. Even MedLife, incidentally, because I know them quite well. They had even spoken to them. But the problem is, like in corrugation, when you deliver it, it's huge. In a truckload of material, it will not be a big value, and the cost of freight is so high for transporting that. So unless and until you make it easier for example, Cipla, I don't supply beyond Goa. They have factories in Sikkim, Baddi, and as well as in Patalganga and Bombay. But I'm not able to because of the freight. It is somewhat localized. It is somewhat localized, and of course now we have gone up to Ratnagiri, JK files, and all we are looking at, and that could be one of the prime reason that the freight is a killing factor here.
Shrikant ji, just ask your question. Shrikant Devle.
Kannan sir.
Yes.
See, I have one question. Hello.
Yeah.
Yes, Shrikant ji, go ahead.
See, just now you said that hospitals are not doing well. Means 1 or 2 hospitals are about to sell. Means what you told just now. But what I perceive that see this COVID days in almost it will go around December. So what feedback I got is that all regular patients like heart, bone means so all regular surgeries are delayed due to COVID. So from December there will be huge business for the hospitals, at least for 1 year. Is it true?
See, it is one thing is that majority of the time, the patient gets immediately restless. If you have some problem, you immediately rush. Now the problem is people are worried about hospital-acquired infections. In fact, doctors will guide you: do not ever rush to hospital, even if you as far as possible, do the quarantine at home and all, because almost 70% of the infections are happening inside the hospital, mind you. Get complications after getting admitted into the hospital. And
That's right.
you in this, within this, there are hospitals I don't want to name. Majority of hospitals, their employees are COVID positive. The problem is keep on adding up people, and these people, instead of being isolated, they are helping you in the name of nurses and whatnot. It is happening. Like you can't. Even if a doctor maybe is asymptomatic, he's coming closer to you, he's operating, he's putting himself in trouble, and he's also putting you in trouble. So that way, today people are not rushing into. What is the question? What you asked? That if you have some problem, you wait for some time, automatically it goes off. Half the time, no, the gastric trouble is considered as a heart attack. People rush and go. So now everything is taking a little bit of a backseat, and people are not really complaining. In fact, it is not that all of a sudden these people have become better, but is that they are wearing a mask and whatnot. The kind of infections have come down drastically. You used to get so many often. We will all get cold. How many of us are now getting cold? You are not getting that common cold only because you are covering. You are ensuring that you are not exposed to too much of pollen and other things in outside. But yes, post this COVID, there will be a lot of. Also, there is a sale happening in hospitals also. Please understand, like you are trying to sell a product, hospital is also trying to sell a product. There are targets for doctors. Believe it.
That's right. So that target is not achieved due to COVID. So this 1 year is gone in COVID.
Yeah, but COVID may, if you see that hospitals, if it is declared as a COVID, which many hospitals try to avoid, but it is possible, and some hospitals have ensured, because multi-specialty, like for example, Jupiter is not a COVID hospital.
Yeah, that's right. It's not COVID hospital.
But every hospital cannot have that luxury. So somewhere you are per force, you are declared as a COVID hospital, you have to bloody well do that. So
Sir, my question is whether this hospital business, means what I pursue, whether this will be after 1 year, after this COVID is over, whether that's all surgeries, even if I have got some heart surgery, transplant surgery, whether this business will grow after COVID.
Not grow.
Because hospital, we are not being operated for last 1 year. These are surgeries are pending, no?
Yeah.
So this business will go for the hospitals.
Yeah, it will go, but it is not that. You see, today what is happening is that if you are told that you will have to undergo surgery, you ask when it is. Virtually, it's better that you do it next month. Okay, because that there is bed available and whatnot. But now the same person has not collapsed. He has been taking the statins, he has been taking the antihypertensives, and he has survived. In fact, some of them will think that I'm okay. I don't have to go through this.
I mean, natural means correct. So that may not be.
I'm able to tell you, it is not that every condition needs a surgery. Every person, you and I who are quite hale and hearty will have blocks. Okay, as I'm talking, I will have some blocks. It's not something that's simple plumbing here. You don't expect everything will be hunky dory. There will be some. But once goes beyond a level, then you rush to the hospital.
Correct.
Because this time they are not able to accommodate, they themselves discourage. I mean, wait.
Yes. You're right. Yes. Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Kannan, I think so. Shrikant is planning to invest heavily in hospital business.
Instead of building hospitals,
I got some different feedback. Sir, I got some different feedback from some equity fund. Means, let me tell you, sir. Hello.
Yeah.
See, in Ghatkopar, there is a Zainova hospital. You must have heard that.
Yes, I know.
There is a Dubai firm. There's a Thakkar, the private equity fund, and I met him in our Ghatkopar office. We are architects for them. See the way they are invested 150 crores in that hospital. Now they want to. They have got one hospital, and they are now second hospital. They are kept it ready. And that fellow is asking for more space. Means he has spent 150 crore on that hospital, Mr. Thakkar. You must have met him. You must be knowing him also. But I was surprised, and still that hospital is not working. Zainana Hospital is not still started. It is ready, but they are from municipal permission they are awaiting. But that fellow, that Thakkar and this other fellow, they have got private equity fund. They are searching for the space and they want more hospital. I was really surprised. What you told me that hospital is not running business, and here these fellows are searching for the space.
No. It's like this. One thing is that like beyond a size of about 90 bedded hospital, It doesn't, like make a. If it is too big, then you are into trouble.
Correct,
if it is too small, again you are not able to make. Look at Columbia Asia. In spite of the fact that they always Columbia Asia, except for one somewhere in Bangalore, all other hospitals are less than 90 bedded. That is still they have sold. They have gone to Manipal. So everybody's so today Fortis, they went to these guys. The same way Max has gone to KKR. So it is so well being done and whatnot. They wouldn't even sell. Today Medicity Medanta is up for sale. You can talk to Dr. Naresh Graha.
But what feedback I got from them is totally different. Means I don't know what is their calculations. Maybe that they must be having some surplus, but because they are invested, Kannan sir, 150 crores from that hospital, and that hospital is lying there for last 6 months. They are not worried, and now they are searching for more space. I don't know what are their calculations.
I will take it up separately because I will be wasting everybody's.
Okay. Thank you, Srikanth. Thank you, Kannan. Thank you so much, Kannan and Sunil, for the presentation today. I would request Mrinal for the vote of thanks. Mrinal, please.
Mrinal is muted.
So sorry. I'm so sorry. I was speaking without unmuting myself. It was a great pleasure to listen to what Mr. Kannan and Mr. Sunil had to say about their respective businesses. Honestly, I feel really great to be a part of 10 when I hear, these big success stories, and I feel like, I still have a long way to go. But, it's been amazing to hear from Mr. Kannan that he's had a pharma distribution business and a packaging business, out of which distribution he sold off to an American distribution company. And now he's focusing with his daughter and son-in-law into the packaging business. So I wish him all the best in that business as well. And, happy to really know about this business. Secondly, Mr. Sunil, I am very happy to understand that he has been coaching people, mentoring people for over 15 years and with a vast client list. I mean, I'm really impressed with his client list and, the persistence in this industry when, training is done by any and every person today. Anybody can be a freelance trainer and, to survive is very difficult in this business. And he's managed to do it for over 15 years, so which is a very commendable thing. So I'm very happy to be, able to hear your success stories and learn from both of you.
Thank you, Mrinal. Thank you so very much. Thank you all of you to spare your time and attend the meeting today. Before we end the meeting today, I would like to announce that next month we'll have a session from Rajiv Athavle. He'll be talking about theory of constraints, and we'll have 2 sessions from him. So that is the update for June.
Okay.
Right. So thank you so much. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you,
everyone. Kannan, congratulate Pooja and Hema on our behalf and Dharmesh, of course.
Yes, thank you. Yes. Sorry to breaking into this way, in a Zoom session.
That's perfect. You're right. Yeah.
But you still owe the party, Kannan sir.
Yes.
Post-COVID.
He will use post-COVID now.
Post-COVID
when
era.
are you inviting us to Goa next trip? We had one trip, so we are waiting for the next trip.
Definitely. Give me now this development of this villa and all will take about a year. So post that. Otherwise, you are most welcome to my warehouse.
No, so we'll visit your warehouse for half an hour and then we'll book a resort for us. We are okay with that.
Yeah, I second Sunil's thought.
Yes.
We'll definitely visit your warehouse.
Yes.
Thank you all.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Kannan sir.
Thanks.
Sunil, thank you very much.
Pleasure. Bye.